What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to more Black Desert. My name is John, and today I wanted to talk about a special video. How much XP can you make in this game, or how much XP can you stack? And I know there's a lot of new players coming into this game, coming from traditional MMOs like, I don't know, ESO, World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, and all that stuff. And you're probably wondering, okay, so how do I level up fast? How do I catch up and everything? So one thing I wanted to talk about was how you guys can stack a lot of XP, and I'll show you where to get it, how to get it, and talk about different options of how to obtain all that. So back in the day when I started playing, there weren't any guides. I kind of had to figure it out, and plus over the years they made leveling a lot easier to the point where they just kind of give you so many free handouts. So getting from level 1 to 61, I guess, is pretty easy nowadays, but I just want to help you guys accelerate that so you can get it a lot faster and just go to the end game and catch up. So I have a screenshot that I made from a video that I think was about 6 months old, and I wanted to update it because they have definitely added a lot of new things. And so here it is. All right, cool. So this is one screenshot that I had from my older video, and the way you're going to look at it is the XP on the left side is things you can get pretty easily by just playing the game, events, and you don't have to spend any money, if any. You can only spend like in-game stuff, more or less. And the stuff on the right we'll call extras, because those are limited time items that you can get temporarily off like the Pearl Shop for silver, or you do spend real money off of it. So some of those are a little bit different, and I will say, before we start, realistically, you're not going to be having all of these buffs up for more than like an hour at a time, because it's very difficult to keep all your XP buffs running at the same time, and they're kind of temporary and based off of like what you have. So realistically, if you were to min-max it, you could probably go above 3000% XP, and it's not easy to do. So I think in a realistic situation, you're just going to look at the stuff on the left side, and that'll help you because that's still a lot of XP, but you just kind of get bonuses along the way. So if we look at this list, I have a lot of stuff, and there's a few extra things that I didn't because I just took the screenshot from my old video, and I think that it will probably help you. So yeah, let's talk about this. So I'm going to move this over here so you guys can see, and I will make sure to talk about everything in order, so we'll talk about that first. Okay, so combat book. What does that mean? There are items, I guess it's the buff like this right here, the Book of Combat. And let me hide this for a second. The way you can get this one is by playing the game through events. You could buy it in the Pearl Shop, but I will say I have never bought one of those books from the Pearl Shop before. I would just wait till the events go on until you get it for free, and I think you also get it from seasons, so you'll be fine. I would not recommend paying real money for it, but they give it out so often, it kind of just looks like this. And yeah, you get them over time. It's pretty cool, right? Yeah, okay, cool. All right, so next, what do we have? We have the yellow scroll of 600%. Now, as you guys know, every single day when you log in, it gives you an option of picking a life scroll or a 200% scroll for a grinding, right? And when you combine 3 of those 200%, then it'll make one 600%. So you get it every day just by logging in. It's free, but every 3 days, if you decide to combine those scrolls, you get a 600% one. And so I think that's a very good level up early or fast one. But if you're a new player, I'd recommend just using the 200s at a time, and then you're just going to be doing a lot more stuff in general. So next we have the Blessed Scroll, the 201 right here. And hold on, can you guys see that? Probably not. Let me just move this over here. So the Blessed Scroll is the 200% one. They give these scrolls out like candy just from events and like random stuff, to the point where both whether you're a beginner or an endgame player, you're probably going to have a bunch of these. Now, you know how if you're a new player, they kind of just shower you with rewards in the game, and like returning players as well. Chances are you're gonna have these scrolls. This is a 200%, and it stacks with a lot of things, and it even tells you in the description that it stacks. So a lot of these scrolls do stack with each other, some don't. You just make sure to read the tooltip to make sure they do or don't, and that's good. So the next thing we're going to talk about is lightstones. Now this one is a very cheap alternative, and I would recommend all players, especially beginners. I even do this myself. I pushed from level 64 to 65 with these as well. So over here you have a few things. You'll have an artifact set right here, and this allows you to put 2 lightstones into 1 artifact, right? So you can have a total of 2 artifacts with 4 lightstones. And the way this works is, if you look at it, there's a combination of various lightstones that you can get a bonus to. And so, like, for example, this one, we have 4 combat XPs, which gives 100% total, plus the effect when you have 4 of them, which gives another 300, so 400 total, right? Makes sense. And it's very cheap to get, to the point where, let me show you on the market. Let me hide that again for a second. We have lightstones. You go to Lightstone of Wind, because that's the blue one, and then you could buy the combat lightstones. And there's like 1,000 of these on the market. Just buy them. It's 5 mil each, even less than that. So I would definitely recommend new players to pick this up. The artifact itself, where you put the lightstones in, it doesn't really matter. But if you're doing it for PvE, I would definitely put it into like a monster damage artifact, because you kill things faster, get more XP. Just makes sense, right? So yeah, this is definitely something I would recommend for everyone to use, because it is a permanent thing, and it's very cheap to get. So it's just huge XP buffs for very little amounts of silver. So next, what do we have? Oh my god, I hate having to move this every time. It's fine. Okay. So next we have cron meals and drafts. Okay, so cron meals are these kind of foods, right? There's an exquisite, seafood, and simple. One is more for PvP, one is more for PvE, and one is for life skillings. Granted, that was just a very simple explanation. They can be used for various different things. So the simple cron meal is the one you can buy off the market. It's very cheap, very easy to just get. There are a lot of people who make them for profit and sell it, but if you are just learning or wanting to level up fast, just buy it off the market. It's not a big deal. They're really cheap. And so the reason why you would get this, if you look at the tooltip, is because 1, extra AP against monsters plus 30 helps you grind faster. That means you're killing faster, getting more loot, getting more XP. Then it gives you another 20% XP just off the bat, which is excellent. That's what you want. And so definitely get one of these. This is the best PvE food in the game, I believe. So definitely use that one. Next, we have beast drafts, and I believe I have a few left over. Let me make sure I do. So these are beast drafts right here, and they're kind of like elixirs or potions in other games. You can combine them with like perfumes, which literally makes 0 sense, but anyway, you can do that. And the reason why is because this is a PvE one where it gives monster damage. We talked about that just 5 seconds ago. And combat XP, so you're stacking more combat XP, and you're clearing faster, which is always good. You can also get that off the market too. The price has kind of fluctuated over time, went up a little bit, but at the same time, it's only 20%. If you don't want it, that's fine. If you do want to min-max, that's also fine. Next, we have Kydex crystals. This one has actually changed over time. Here's what we do. You know how if you set up crystals, this is not really something that I would recommend always having, but if you're grinding in a spot where XP is wanted, but you can still survive, and then that's when I would use it. So I have a video detailing all the crystals I use. It's more of an endgame player thing, but you can still watch it. I'll leave a link in the description if you care. And so this is how it looks right now. So these Kydex crystals are given now through season rewards, so that means you guys should have it too, especially if you're a new player. And the more seasons you play, the more crystals you get, and then you just put them in there. So what I would recommend doing is getting a slot just full of XP crystals, and then this Gearins tier is plus 75%. It is very difficult to get this right now. It's more of an endgame item. But don't worry, if you don't have it, just add another Kydex crystal, and it just gives you more combat XP. Just not as much, but ultimately, at the end of the day, just stack as much combat XP as you can, and that's good, right? I will say, though, just be careful while using these when you're grinding, because as you guys know, if you die, you could potentially lose crystals. And if you're grinding like a high-end spot where you're not super comfortable, it is better to just use like different crystals for defensive, offensive powers. And I don't want to get too much into that. So there's different crystal setups for everything. But if you're grinding at like a lower end area where you are guaranteed to survive and you'll be fine, then I think it's okay to use EXP crystals in here. So yeah, that's one thing. It says 200% on the little chart that I have. That also depends on how many crystals you have. So these ones are 10%. These big ones are 20%. These are also from seasons, by the way. So you don't pay real money for any of them. All of this can be either obtained by questing, I believe, or the central market. This one is definitely an expensive one. I don't expect most people to have it, the Gearins tier, but it's okay. It's really just only like 50% XP. So, I mean, at the end of the day, does it matter? Yes and no. If you're min-maxing, yes. But it's not like saving you thousands of hours or anything. So that's up to you how much you can get for XP. There's a thing called church buffs right now. I'm going to show you exactly where they are right now. So there's an NPC in every major city and town that sells church buffs. And the reason why we call it church buffs is usually because the NPC is in a church. And so in Heidel, anyway, the church is over here, and you talk to this person, and they offer different blessings. So like one for XP, protection, and offensive abilities. So you just buy the ones you need for 2 hours, or I believe that's 5 hours. And yeah, it's just silver cost, and I think it's really good. If I am correct, it is only 15%, and I think that's good. So, I mean, if you might as well get it, because 15% is 15%. All right, so what do we have next? The Black Spirit buff. Everyone knows what the Black Spirit is. You learn how to use it in the tutorial, and if you are above level 50, you can exchange energy for different buffs right here. So these are the 30 minutes, and these are the 60 minutes. It depends how long you grind. Just pick the one that works for you. And so that's an extra 20% for 100 energy. I think that's overall, I mean, like, if all you do is grind, that's cool. But if you play the game and do everything, I do think 100 energy is, like, more silver. If you do, like, gathering, then it is getting 20% XP. But that's just min-maxing. But if you just grind, just do that. And now we have a thing called the tent buff. I have a video on how to get the tent for free. That one is like a temporary thing that you just do repeatedly. But if you buy the like permanent tent off the cash shop, which is a hot topic itself, then that one's just permanent. But either way, you don't have to spend any money in game, or not any money, any real money, but only using in-game currency silver. And you can get the same exact things. So what this is a tent buff. The tent site, you buy a Villa scroll, skill XP and combat XP 10%. That's what we call a tent buff. I would recommend watching the video that I have. I'll leave it in the description on how to get a free one, and by free I mean $0 real spent. And it explains everything, how to get it, what items you need, what quest line to do. And so it's very easy, actually. I do believe there's a level requirement of like 50 something, but either way, if you're thinking about min-maxing XP scrolls, you'll probably be there in like a few hours. So anyway, it's not that difficult. Combat XP scroll, 300%. Let me move this over. 300% for 1 hour. I do believe this is a good one. I don't think they sell this on the market like for real money. I believe they just kind of give this away for seasons and random other events. So chances are, whether you're a new player or a veteran player, you have one of these, and or a bunch of them actually, and that's probably just going to help you. So these are all the scrolls and buffs on the left side that I wanted to talk about, because these are all the ones you can get relatively easily and you probably have an abundance of. Now let's talk about the extras. Now, once again, as I mentioned in the beginning, these extras are limited, as in, like, once you run out, it's probably gone for a while or until you spend more real money. So let's talk about the XP scroll 530%, these thingies. These, they usually give you about 53 of them every year during like a major holiday or something. And the way you can get them right now is you go to your, I believe, is it loyalties, or either loyalties or, let me see, it's usually some sort of event. Let me find it again. Yeah, okay, so over here. So you just go to your event tab and then event at thing, and then at the bottom. So they sell it for 1 loyalty. They sell about 50 of them, and you could buy about like 50 of them. So these are very good. These do stack with a lot of things. So just make sure to use them sparingly, or don't use them at dumb grind spots. And so chances are these are pretty good. And then you can stack them with all the things on the left side for more XP. And so next we have a Spirit Stone. These are actually only obtainable by seasons and by events, and mostly by seasons though. So they look like these rainbow crystals, more or less, or like blue or purple and pink. And you get them just by playing the seasons. Chances are you guys have a bunch of them and you just don't really notice that. But yeah, combat XP, 50%, extra damage to monsters, helps you level. Very good. I will say that Spirit Stones are not rechargeable. So that means once you use all 50 charges of them, it's just over. And then you get a new one when you get a new one. Next thing we have is a bell, 100%. They look like this. Now, I would recommend not buying these with real money ever, because what the buff does is like right here, and it's 1 hour. When someone pops a bell, it gives you 100% XP for the server. So like, for example, I am on comma 2 right now, and if I were to pop the bell, it would be only for comma 2. So that means everyone on the server gets a buff. It shows your name. That's cool. They kind of give these away from events, and you just kind of get them over time. You could buy it off the Pearl Shop, but I would not recommend doing it. It's kind of expensive for like 1 hour, and then it's not even like not even that good. It's okay. So if you get it from event, cool. Or just swap servers, and then someone else will probably pop a bell, and then you just use the XP on that server. And then right now we have the night buff going on. So like at 10 o'clock in game to 7 a.m. in game. As you guys know, it's nighttime, and the monsters become stronger, but their XP and drop rate is buffed. So that's another 50% XP on top of what it normally earns at nighttime. And every now and then, they give out random other stuff. But on a normal, we have a weekend buff of 100 to 200% XP. Right now, because the Festa and all these new players are playing the game, we have 1,000% XP bonus, and now is a good time to start playing the game if you're thinking of doing it. By the way, just throwing it out there. But on like non-events, it's just like 100 to 200%. So I think it's good, and that's just a certain time to play. Like it's usually during Fridays to Sunday, and I believe on Friday it starts at like prime time. I'm not 100% sure when it starts. It just kind of does. And then weekends, it's on 24 hours, like Saturday, Sunday. And well, I think it actually ends on Sunday at a certain time, but it's pretty late at night. So either way, weekend buffs is a good time. And then we have costume buffs. And as you guys know, for costumes, they do give some stats like a combat XP percentage plus 10%. and it's just kind of one of those things that you wear if you have like, it's costumes in video games. They give a 10% buff, but realistically that 10% doesn't mean anything. You buy the costume because you like it, so it's just an extra buff. And then we have guild buffs going on. So as you guys know, being in a guild actually has benefits, and so like you have guild buffs that officers or GMs can pop, and if you aren't in a guild, I recommend joining it because they can pop it and then you just get an extra 20%. So yeah, I think that's all the buffs that I can think of. If I missed any, feel free to let me know. There's probably a few that are like elixirs you can pop, but at the same time, it's just like, it's very hard to track, especially if you're trying to track all those other XP things at the same time. So I don't know. It's one of those things of how much management do you want to do? And so realistically, the left side is what you should probably recommend using, and the right side is just like, do you have it? If so, cool. If you don't have it, it's not a big deal. And so I did a little bit of a total on the left and right side, and that totals around maybe over around 3,000% if you were to have everything, but realistically around 15 to 1,800 if you are just doing like everyday things. So yeah, what else would I recommend doing for all of you is checking out the video I have in the description of what spots I think are relevant for new players all the way to end game. And I just want to say welcome to the game if you are new, and I don't know what content creator you watch to find this game, but if you are a new player or a returning player or just someone who wants to improve at this game, that's what I do a lot of videos of, and I would love to see you come back. So if you're new, hit that subscribe button. Hopefully some of my videos are helpful to you. And I just wanted to let you guys know that if you are planning on picking up the game or planning on purchasing any pearls or A-coins, check out my code over there. It's called code Jonlaw. It's not case sensitive, so if you want to use it, I get a small fraction or percentage of what you guys spend, and that would be awesome. And even if you don't spend any money and you're completely free to play it, that's okay with me as well. All that matters is hopefully you guys learn something and are enjoying the game. But if you do plan on spending, code Jonlaw, and I get a small portion of it. So once again, thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you guys come back in the future. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. I'm happy to answer it. Or I have a Discord where you can just watch the guides. I have a lot of guide videos, and I have a separate channel for that. So if you don't want to talk to anyone, that's cool. I understand. Just go find something, and it's probably there. And hopefully you learned something. So with that said, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Have a fantastic day. Peace.